Welcome to our preview of tonight's action from Doncaster. Of course, you can see this kicks off at 6:09 and live on Racing Post TV. Just a few tips for you running through each of the races this evening. First one is an A2 contest over the 483, and Nola's new Blue Boy for Sean Parker will be a short price favourite, probably a worthy short price favourite. Needs a decent break, and I think this is a slightly easier A2, but I'm not really interested at sort of 5 to 4, 6 to 4. Want a little bit bigger than that. Ballymac Brooks a staying type in trap 2. Keedy Candy and Keedy Welcome are coming back onto the card. Lady Vicky's not really firing, and Ballybunion Bill's a dog that you can always frame up a big price. Sean's other dog, but all things being equal, will be a watching race here in the opener. Second race, I've had a small bet here in the shape of Penny's Endeavour in track 4. I think this is a bit of a step down in grade. So it's an easier A3 for Penny's Endeavour, a drop from the A2 at a big price behind Happy Tally last time out. And I thought he missed a breakout at 6 and then rushed up. Now at track 4, it might just help him out the tins a little bit better. Molly's Mills, a dog in trap 2. She's not quite doing what she did in the old days, but she did trap all right last week. She's kind of move off a little bit. Red Brick Boyo in track 3 is a youngster of Jimmy Gaskins that's kind of up in class now, but has got the potential to improve. I didn't really fancy 5 or 6 on the outside in this 5-dog affair, and I've sided with Penny's Endeavour. I thought was a really good price at 4 to 1. Just a small bet there. In the third race, this is an A1 contest. No trap 6 here, it's vacant. And it looks a good opportunity for Phil the Till to carry on her really good form out of season. She's 12 weeks out of season now. Jimmy Gaskins got a fire in all cylinders, run over the shorter trip with a B3, then had an A2 last week and absolutely blitzed her rivals. She's coming right. She's got good draw as well because Cunny Shell's more of a staying type on the inside. Trevally Star's got a little bit of early speed, and Swift Lethal in 5 as well. Again, Sean's got 3 dogs, 1, 4 and 5 in this race. But I think all things being equal, Phil the Till will probably get to the front and stay there. But again, short price evens, not really that interested. The fourth race is probably about the best bet on the card. And you're taking what you think's going to happen more than what you really know. But Ricky Overton's Unexposed Greyhound in trap 2, Ardira Toby, I thought showed really good form last time out. Run against Dinah Rose. Now, Dinah Rose was in 2, Ardira Toby was in 3, and the draws have been switched. And I just thought that Ardira Toby, with a slightly better break, could get inside Dinah Rose around the first 2 turns. He's probably not the strongest of stayers, Ardira Toby, but again, because he's unexposed and because he's learning the ropes, if he gets to the front, I think he could show big improved form here. So I was quite confident, and Ardira Toby at 4 to 1 was going to be my best bet on the card. In the fifth race, tricky race this one. It's a B4 contest. A lot of sort of out of form, going through the motions dogs here. Scarlet Beauty, she seems to be a little bit wrong in the season after coming back all right in a weak race in a B5, but she's been struggling in B4s. Moss Panda's been off 21 days. Kilberry Tiger, I always fall for him. He's a bit of a thinker. He's got a bit of early dash and he can down tools on occasions. Tully Murray, my way, I thought had a look after last week. Slow away dog. Might get woken up. I'm not too sure if the connection saw that or not. Kramer, not really doing too much. Ross Temple Burt's got a chance on the outside. I thought the early speed, and that probably was key to this race, is 3 and 6, but with no great confidence. 7:36 is an interesting race. It's a B6 contest. And I thought Pinch of Snow was, after problems, coming back to a bit of form. Won a B7 quite convincingly. Missed the kick last time, went up into a B6. It's got the advantage of going to be in track 1. Probably edge off a little bit, but it just seems that she might just break a little bit better out of the red. Blaine Fitzy is an interesting runner for Debbie Calvert, quite unexposed. Been off the card since actually running in a Thurles sales trial. Interesting enough, running against and beat Peggy's Tashadelic. Now, Peggy's Tashadelic's a ground that's been showing good form in sort of A3 company, A4 company. So that could be interesting and might just be letting lightly. So I wouldn't let that one go unbacked actually around the 5 to 1 mark. Cathal's Icon likewise in track 3. showed early pace in an A7 at Enniscorthy. Whether he can get round both 1 and 2, I don't know. I didn't really fancy 4 or 6. They seem to be out of sorts of late. Blistering Stars, a slow breaker that will run on late, might be a forecast option here. But I was having a small play here. Pinch of Snow in 1 and Blaymore Fitzy in 2. Race 7 is a B2 contest, and Wakiki Beanie in Trap 6 is going to be the favourite here. Jimmy Gaskins got this bitch coming back quite well after a bit of a layoff. She won a B3 quite convincingly. She ran from Trap 5 on that occasion, and I think she kind of edges into lane 4 more than 6, and she's got 6 here today. It might just fetch her out the boxes because she is very, very hit and miss, but she does cut the bend. But I was interested with Ragtime Lenny here as a debutant for Gary Vincent, who not that long ago, back in May, ran against Ivan Exile. Terry Dartnell's really nice youngster. Was only beaten 3 lengths in a race, in open race at Central Park. Has won an A2 at Central Park as well. So I thought a decent draw. His next door neighbour, Gentleman's Game, was stepping up last time from sprinting to this 450 metre trip and didn't appear to stay, but broke well and incidentally moved into the middle as well. So I think it's going to give Ragtime Lenny a good draw. And again, at 4 to 1 is prepared to take a chance. In race 8, this is a lowly B7. It's not the worst B7 in the world by any means, but I think the runners here were Mulcair Dawn in red, got a decent makeup, and probably Turlo Queen, who could outstay the rest of this field. Daith's Rosie was a bit poor on debut, didn't really show a lot, very, very green for a youngster on the bends. Patricia's News didn't take the bends that well. She's coming back from a bit of a spell off. Jamara Grove might be able to get into the contest early, but not really seeing out her races. And Breakaday Ebony in Trap 2, probably not quite up to this class. So I felt it was between Mulcair Dawn and Turlo Queen, just sided with Turlo and Queen in the 8:17. Moving on to the 9th race, and a B3 contest, an interesting one. I think this centres around the inside pair, really. Mad About Chap, he's missed his break in his last 2 ups, and he doesn't look the greatest of dogs in behind. If he's allowed to dominate, if he gets a better break, and Ricky Oates' Charge did win about 5 runs back on the 17th of September and looked quite good when he was on the front. He only just about gets the trip, but I think if he dominates, you could see a different dog. If he doesn't lead and Hello Kiara gets a good break, and she was a good breaker over the 483 metre trip, she's back now, coming back from a little bit of a spell off, and she did win 2 runs back in lower grade, and she ran okay last time out. The only other dog going to the bend is Joyce's News. Whether she can clear the field, I'm not too sure, but I think maybe tentative 1 and 2. I didn't really fancy the newcomers in 3 and 4, and 6 was a bit paddly on the bends last time. So yeah, there's not too many runners in the race. So if you can get sort of 3 to 1, both 1 and 2, it might be worth dutching them. In the 10th race, we're moving on to sprints. And this race could nigh and be a D1. It's probably about the best sprinters that are on offer at Doncaster. They don't tend to have D1s. They just have sort of varying degrees of D2s. Blast Off Millie's been running really well. I think it's about a 3 to 1 the field race, and it's one of those where I'd need prices to play. Blast Off Millie showing really good early speed. Just tends to sort of look after herself when she gets trapped on the rails on the inside if there's traffic. And Not So Vivace, not that long ago, was showing really good form. He's coming back from a layoff. Ballymac Brook, she's a bitch I quite like, but she doesn't always come out of a trap, but she's showing fairly good speed. Cantert Blue actually was second in a qualifying trial to Ballymac Brook, so might just have something to think about here. Runtel Nana's smashing the bars down. That's going to give herself a bit of an out in a race where it is competitive, but really she needs to smash clear of this field. And Colmore Blakey, he might just struggle to clear his next door neighbour on the inside. So I just thought Safeway, maybe token selection there was Blast Off Millie on the inside. On to the next race, that's the 11th race, and it's a lowly D4. I've kind of been following Pellias Drax on the inside, but last 2, I mean, she's been a bit off as well. She's just been a little bit easing at the turns. Maybe that could be with traffic around her. I wouldn't want to see her get a decent break. She's not normally a bingo breaker by any means. Whereas Make My Day Punk is. He's a very, very wide runner. He's the widest runner at the track. And Penny's Linnet, who's a decent starter, will definitely move right the way in. He can't get a touch on the outside, so he was probably the safe way for me. Make My Day Punk, a dog that nearly comes second more than he wins, mind. But I think today could be his day. I wouldn't want to go too short. About the 9-4 mark is probably fair enough for a small bet. On to the last and a straightforward bet here is Myla Pippin. Again, another one not quite driving the bends when traffic around, but I don't see too much opposition here. Ballygursu in trap 2 will be moving off. Myla Pippin's really ideally drawn on the inside. The only other dog you might want to save on, if the price dictates, if he goes out to about 3-1 with Burnfoot Tango, but the rest of them are much of a much. They beat each other. I just think Myla Pippin had the class edge. I just got a bit of a still here that I can share with you. And they're the bets then for tonight. Small bet, Penny's Endeavour from trap 4 in the 6:28, the second race. The best bet of the night is 6:58, trap 2, Adera Toby. It's a full point win that. I'd probably even bet him around the 5-2, 3-1 mark. The 7:56, trap 1, Ragtime, then he'd second a bit of a chance. Might just save on 6, or maybe even have a 6-1 forecast just in case the 6 does go wallop. 9-12. I don't think this dog could get a touch. He's a fairly safe bet here, around about the 9-4 mark. And again, pretty similar to the 9:28 Myla Pippin, but probably a slightly stronger bet at around 7-4. So they're the bets for tonight. Happy punting, and hopefully we'll get a few winners this week.